Hi, people. Hello, beautiful, beautiful people. I hope you missed me. If you didn't miss me, please just keep that to yourself. I don't need to know that. But if this is the first time you're seeing my face, do you like it? Jokes. But my name is Lola. I am a 23-year-old woman who loves Jesus, who loves to learn, who loves to grow. And yeah, I'm just sharing what I'm learning throughout my growing and glowing journey. And hopefully we can all just grow together. Yes. Okay. So, today I want to talk about a topic I feel like we all kind of go through. And if you haven't gone through this, you need to share your secrets. You need to share what you be doing that, but we're gonna talk about comparison. Honestly, I feel like comparison might as well just take us out. It's I feel like it's quite close to death because we don't get to see our value. We don't get to see our greatness, our strengths, because we're compared to other people. And just get to the little, I guess like a little girl talk. What my older sister, if I had one, would tell me, or my auntie would tell me. So just imagine me as your cool 23-year-old auntie. Yes. Yes, my cousin the other day was like, Auntie Dami. I said, what? Please. It's Sissy. I'm still a Sissy, I beg. But yeah, I feel like I'm be giving that grown woman auntie vibes already. But okay, into the nitty gritty. So I feel like the one thing that we have to talk about first is why we actually compare. Why are we comparing? I think it can come from many reasons, but specifically coming from my experience and what I think and what I've gone through, I think there are many things that causes this, but this is once again in no particular order. I'm just saying it based off the notes I wrote. But I think one thing that can cause comparison is being disappointed in where we're at in our lives and thinking that or wishing or feeling that we want to be somewhere else, somewhere higher, somewhere better, and we're just disappointed in ourselves. Disappointed. Maybe we think that we didn't work hard enough. Maybe we think that we're showing up less than we can, and all the other things life adds to that. So I think that's one of the reasons we compare, just to being disappointed in where we're at. We think we can be doing better. We think we could be here and there, and seeing other people be doing and being at places that we want to be at just makes us feel more down. I think one big thing is not being grateful for where we are at. Gratefulness, gratitude, it is a practice that we all must practice. And when we don't practice that, it leads to us not seeing the goodness, the great things on where we're at. I'm gonna bring a Bible verse into this because, dear. Okay, so this is editing Lola here, but the Bible verse I put didn't really align to what I was trying to say, but it is a really good Bible verse regardless of the Bible is fire. What I was just trying to say is that we're called to give thanks in all circumstances, and we have the Bible verse that says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, because this is the will of God for you." So, giving thanks, even though we might not see the direct benefit of it and being, or the benefit of being in gratitude, it is the will of God for our lives. Um, just remember that, but still listen to the verse that is coming because it is profound. I was like, when I first read, I was like, oh my God, this is so tea. But Proverbs 27:7 says, "One who is full loads honey from the comb, but to the hungry, even what is bitter tastes sweet." Now, when I first read this verse, I was like, oh my God, it's clicking. Like, if you're in a place coming from a place of lack, the things that are not where you're supposed to be as is the things that you're like seeking for, going for, But if you're also coming from a place of pridefulness, you're not appreciative of the things that are in front of you. But I can also see like how if you don't see the goodness of where you're at, you might miss the good things that are like available to you and the resources that are available to you. So whenever we find ourselves in a place, I guess what I think this verse is like really highlighting to me is that we have to find a happy medium of things. We can't be too prideful or feeling too lowly about ourselves, because there is negative that comes from doing those things. So find that happy, being grateful of where we're at and seeing that there's goodness and great things still to come, and there's still goodness and great things happening right now. One thing else that I think is low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, that's it's not good. It's so bad, because whenever we don't have self-confidence, self-love, we're just very nitpicky of ourselves. Very nitpicky, only highlighting the flaws, only highlighting the things that we think we need to work on, when there's so much goodness, so much great things that we are doing already. And that causes us to compare. When we think ourselves as low, we only are able to focus on other people's good things. Like, if I think of myself as highly and I love myself, there's honestly nothing to compare. I mean, you know, I hope you know. And then with that, if you have low self-esteem and you feel like you're not doing enough, it might lead to not thinking that you work hard enough and thinking that we keep working harder. But that has so many nuances to it, because I feel like, especially Black women, we not intentionally, but unconsciously, we kind of undermine ourselves, undermine the things that we are doing in our work, and we feel like we should be doing more than we need to, because, well, if you just do the bare minimum like our counterparts are doing, we want to get the same things. So we always work far above our counterparts and still get, the measly pieces. But even still, then thinking that we need to work harder, thinking that we need to do all this can cause to comparison, and then can lead to burnout, honestly, because if you're always working and working, I feel like you can be always working harder, and there's no place for self-care, rest. Not only will comparison take you out, but stress will also take you out. And then when we do not know our purpose, we find ourselves seeing what other people do, seeing what other people are doing as the way to the way to be successful, and we compare ourselves to that. Us, you know, being here is so much valuable. What we do is so important. Every part has this play. Every part has this part to play. And you have a part, I have a part, and it's still important. Like, if you look at different jobs in the country, we all need those jobs. Not everybody can be a doctor because we need cooks. Not everybody can be a lawyer because we need farmers. Not everybody can be a scientist because we need teachers. So, yeah. And there's obviously other jobs that I didn't say that it is all needed. And finally, I think is that we don't see how we contribute and add value to this world. Because, once again, bringing the Bible in, Romans 12:46 says, "For as in one body we have many members, and the members do not all have the same function." So, we have the human body here. Our eyes can see, our ears can hear, our mouth taste, it speaks. The different body parts are so needed. Our legs walk, our hands touch and feel, and without it, it seems like we're missing a part of ourselves. Each function is needed for the whole body to function. And continuing, it says, Having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, let us use them. I think this goes also back to knowing your purpose. When you know your purpose, you know the gifts you have, you know that you are valuable here. And without knowing that, it seems like everybody else is doing what you should be doing when that's not the case. What you are passionate about, which you enjoy doing, that is valuable and it's important in some way, shape, and form. We just have to find that purpose and find how it leads us close to God and how it brings other people closer to God. Because I personally think that is the main thing, to bring people closer to God and be aligned in His will. Now, we know I talked about the reasons why I think we compare. But what can we do now? What can I do now, knowing why I compare? Finding our purpose, Shadi. We need to find what we're meant to do in here. And this is hard because me personally, I'm still a youngin'. I am 23. And I feel like coming to college, it was just like, in high school, we were always told what to do. Then in college, you're supposed to know exactly what you're supposed to do by your own self. And there's people out there, and I'm so, it's not jealous, it's not envious. I'm just so enticed, or what's the word? I'm so baffled by the people that know exactly what they want to do straight out of high school and go ahead and do it, and nothing changes from high school. But for me, I have changed what I want to do in my life so many times. But the core in it, I realized, did not change. And when we find that core, it honestly lights the path for us. Like, oh, there's so many different paths you can go to, but the core still stays the same. And I think it's hard whenever you're young to know that. It seems like there's only certain jobs that can lead to success. There's only certain jobs that I also only know of. So finding your purpose can be hard, but finding that core thing, like for me, it's cliche, but honestly, it's one that I want to really help people. I'm really passionate about health, and that core did not change, but the path I wanted to go through to get there changed. But knowing that core, and I think there's not a lot of grace to finding out your purpose, but there is so much grace. You need to give yourself so much grace to find out what you want to do. Because the idea of like a 19, 18-year-old coming to college and already figuring out their life, what? How? How's that supposed to work? Excuse me. So, yeah. So give yourself grace. And I feel like at any age, you can still find your thing and what you're called for at any age. People do it all the time, but we don't see it all the time of people of different ages still finding their calling, still finding their purpose. And when we find our purpose and when we know that there's value in our purpose, we don't compare. We know our role in this world and we know other people have their role in this world. Increasing our self-esteem. Bro, self-love is important. It's so important because whenever we're highly critical of ourselves, that's all we see and that's all we're aware of. We're not aware of the strengths, aware of the good things that we possess in ourselves. And then to build self-esteem, I think it just takes a lot of time and solitude, a lot of self-work, a lot of reflection of like you might just have to write it down, the things you're good at, the things you like about yourself, the things other people like about you, so they can see it and say, oh, there's things about myself to be grateful for, that to be in love with, to love about myself. And then I'm reading Black People in Love by Bell Hooks right now, and it is highlighting so much things about self-love, especially for Black people, and then Black people who were enslaved. But how segregation and then integration really affected it, because Bell Hooks was saying how when black people were segregated, black people in black schools, they had black teachers. The black teachers thought highly of them. They were in a lot of black spaces where the people around them thought highly of them. But obviously there was this masking when you went out of those black spaces. But still you knew that in those black spaces you had those black spaces where you could feel loved, you could feel valued. And then integration happened. But integration happened and they just integrated everybody. But the people that were in charge were still racist. So they put on their biases and their negative racist thoughts on the kids, on integrated spaces, and there was less only black spaces for black people to be able to receive that same value that they had in segregation. So although integration allowed black people to have the same quality of education, same quality of things, the actual principles, the actual system was not changed, because the people in charge of those places were still racist, and in turn made it difficult for people of color, for black people, to feel that self-love, because wherever they went they were being told that they were less than, where prior where they segregated they were being told that they're valid because the people in those spaces were black. But it was like integration needed more work. It wasn't just like integrate, that was it. It should be integrate and change the system, and that wasn't done, and that affected generations on self-esteem and self-love. Read that book. Especially media too. Media was doing a lot of things back then. When media was integrated, they just put black people in negative roles, and people just thought, oh, we're in the TV, that's good, but that's perpetrating still racist thoughts to the media. But yeah, self-love. We need to love ourselves. We also need to love others and celebrate others. When we celebrate others, we see the value in them as well. Whenever we see other people doing good and we're happy for them, I think that comes from a place of being content with ourselves and knowing that they can succeed while I am not succeeding, and that is not a bad thing. And then being grateful, once again, is quite important. We have to give thanks in all circumstances. And that just allows our brain to know that there's so much good things happening here with us regardless. Also, in psychology, research has been done to show that daily gratitude helps with feelings of isolation and loneliness. And I think comparison can cause feelings of isolation and loneliness. So when we're grateful of things happening, we have this feelings of connectedness with the people around us. And then daily gratitude also just reduces the stress and all generality. So practicing gratitude daily really just highlights the places are in our lives that we forget is going great. But this is a process. This is a thing that's not just going to take a one-time thing to. But as I was saying, you have a place on this earth. What your neighbor is doing, what your acquaintance is doing, does not negate your value. Don't let comparison isolate you, reduce your worth, or cause you to stop working towards your goals and the things you aspire to be. And when you notice comparison, just check yourself. Be like, oh, I don't want to compare because it's taken away from my value. And another thing that really adds to comparison is that social media. We need to check on that. We need to work on that. You might need to just cut it off. You can literally, if you find yourself being on social media is causing too much comparison, is causing you to feel negatively about yourself, you can stop. You can delete that thing. But yeah, I hope this was enlightening. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any notes, experiences you want to share, please go ahead. The comment is right open, is wide open for us to share. Well, thank you. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.